Don't want to feel you, don't want you on my mind. Don't want to feel you, don't want you on my mind. Don't want to feel you, don't want you on my mind, on my mind, on my mind, mind. Why would I leave if you were everything I wanted you to be? When I saw what you did, who you were with, got me questioning the things that I believe. So I ask myself, do I let you go?
Hey, so my name is Lanice and I am here with Slip. And if you have not tuned into my YouTube channel, Slip stands for Speaking Life into People. And today I want to speak life into a situation that I have learned has been one of the biggest distractions for me. So this month, the month of September, we are going to speak on, or I am going to speak on, toxic relationships. So, to start off, I wanted to talk about toxic relationships because one, like I said, I have been distracted by a series of toxic relationships, and so once I realized that these relationships were really just a repeated cycle, I was able to find out what it was inside of me that was causing me to attract these types of relationships. And now that I've realized that, I feel like I can speak on it and help other people see, you know, maybe my relationships, maybe there's a part that I'm playing in this, or maybe it's something that I'm not seeing. You know, usually as women, we don't always, we're not able to really see what's going on in these relationships. All we know is that we love this person, and we're not able to really realize why it's so toxic because we're so jaded by our love for the other person. So I wanted to speak on toxic relationships, and today we're going to start with ways that you can tell, or ways that you can see if your relationship is toxic. Just characteristics that usually play a part in a lot of toxic relationships. As always, I have my handy dandy journal. I actually got this journal. It's only like $1. Isn't it beautiful? I love a pretty journal. But yes, I have my handy dandy journal because I actually wrote down like the characteristics that I have seen that are a repeated cycle in my life, and they are the same characteristics in each toxic relationship. And I also want to let you guys know that toxic relationships, they do not always have to be romantic relationships. You can have a toxic friend, you can have a toxic parent, you can have a toxic child. You know, a relationship is a relationship. So in any type of relationship can be toxic. One way you can identify if you're in a toxic relationship or not is it's always constant criticism. One person is constantly criticizing the other person, telling them what they're not, telling them the things that they need to work on, just constantly pointing out all of their flaws. Now, there's a difference, of course, I say this all the time, there's a difference between constructive criticism and just criticizing somebody. You can tell when somebody's coming from a good place, and you can tell when you only hear negative things from somebody, you only hear constant negative criticism about you. So the thing about the constant criticism is it's actually deep rooted in insecurity. The way that they're talking to you verbally is how they are talking to themselves on the inside. So anytime you have an insecure person, or you have two insecure people, they're going to constantly criticize each other and bash each other because that's really how they feel on the inside, and what's on the inside always comes out. Another way that I realized, another characteristic, that I have seen in all my toxic relationships were that you really aren't happy when you're with them. You just keep them around because you don't like to feel lonely. You know, you don't want to be by yourself, so you're using them to kind of fill a void because you know when you're with them, like, it's just not right. Like, this isn't right that I'm with you right now, but I am. And why? And you have to think about it. It's normally because you just don't want to be by yourself. You're willing to accept whatever it is that you can get from this person just because you have a fear of being by yourself. Now, sometimes you have to go a little bit deeper and find out why you have a fear of being by yourself. I know that my issue was I had a fear of abandonment since I was a young child. Like, I just had a fear of abandonment, and that is how it played out into my adult years. I would constantly just hold on to people or relationships that I know aren't good, and do things myself that were very, very unhealthy just because I was afraid of being alone, and that fear of abandonment that started as a child. And then I noticed that was in just about every toxic relationship that I have is that you always feel like your self-esteem is taking a blow. Like, they don't really, the person, you never hear encouragement from that person, you know, but you always hear, like I said before with the constant criticism, you always hear the negative things. So after you get done hanging out with them, you may have had a great time, you know, you may have really felt like you like this person, but you still feel like they said something or did something that, you know, really took a blow out of your self-esteem. Or, you know, later on down the road, once the honeymoon phase is over, you start to really feel worse about yourself than you did in the start of the relationship. You know, you might have came in the relationship feeling great about yourself, and all of a sudden you just feel like you're not good enough and you don't deserve the things that you say you deserve. And that's usually because of the toxicity in the relationship. One thing that I noticed about some of the toxic relationships that I had with guys were that they always thought that they were the prize. Like, they were the prize and you are lucky to have them, no matter how bad they treated you. And I mean, I'm not man bashing at all, because I think I've actually played that role on the woman's side too. It felt like I was better than someone I was dating at one point in time, you know. But that is very toxic. Anytime you have two people together and one person feels better or more holier than thou than the other person, that's bound to be toxic. That is bound to, someone is bound to leave that relationship with the most depleted self-esteem ever. Another identifier that I can use now to spot toxicity is whenever someone constantly uses the relationship like you're a rabbit and the relationship is a carrot on a string. Like, they're just constantly dangling the relationship in front of you. Well, or they're constantly, you know, in and out, like, telling you, well, if you weren't doing this, then maybe we could be together. Or, you know, if you didn't act this way, then maybe we could be together. Or this is why we're not together. Or this is why we're not working, because you did this and you did that. Like, if they're constantly, or they're telling you at times when you're acting like you don't like them, at times that's when they're like, well, maybe we can be together, maybe we can work. You know, they're constantly telling you, they're giving you hope, basically. When someone is constantly giving you hope, or giving you breadcrumbs and feeding them to you like you're a bird, that is a big sign that you're in a toxic relationship. Because anytime you're in a relationship with somebody, it should be mutual. They should want to be there just as much as you want to be there, and if they don't, they should just say they don't, and they should just leave. So anytime someone is constantly telling you, you know, well, maybe we can be together one day if you stop doing this, or this is why we're not going to be together because you're always doing this, that's not good. That's very toxic, and both of you guys are playing a very toxic role in that relationship, and you need to get out. Another identifier that I can give you is the constant game of cat and mouse. It's like, okay, you're constantly chasing this person, calling them, you know, wanting to hang out with them, and then all of a sudden when you stop, because you're finally like, okay, I get the point, and you stop contacting them, they start to chase you, and it goes back and forth and back and forth. The other person, one person is hot and cold. You guys are hot and cold all the time. Hot and cold between you guys, and that is toxic. You know, anytime you're in a relationship, yes, you know, you're going to be upset with the person, you're going to argue, you guys are going to have your good days and your bad days, but it should never be, okay, well, today we're together and tomorrow we may be together. No, it should be mutual. Everything should be mutual. It should be no chasing. It should be no, this person's giving me too much attention, so now I gotta cut them off. Like, no, it should be mutual. So anytime you're playing cat and mouse, hot and cold, nick it in the bud. It's toxic. It's not good. Step away. And I'm only telling you this because I've done it many times. Next here I have that sometimes you can be with a dream killer. You can be with someone who kills every single dream that you have. Anytime you feel like you have a great idea, they find a way to make it not so great. Anytime you're excited about what you have going on in your life, they tell you you still need to step it up a little bit. You know, you just, sometimes you're dating dream killers, or sometimes you're not dating dream killers, your friends are dream killers, because people have the tendency to put their fears off on you, or sometimes somebody might have tried something and being that it wasn't for them, it didn't work for them, so they will kill your dreams. And that is, you don't want to be around those type of people. The people that you want to be around, they should feed your dreams. You know, if something sounds a little bit outlandish, they'll still sit here and break it down with you and tell you what type of goals you need to make for that outlandish dream. You know, they're gonna feed your dreams, and they're not gonna feed your fears. They're gonna feed your faith. So if you're with a dream killer, you need to, I'm sorry, you need to either get them some help or you need to drop them, because you're not gonna go far if every dream you have, the person that you want to run to, the person that you want to talk to about it, kills it every single time. No, don't do it. One other thing that I know that I have also done, you know, to people, and this has been done to me, and it's very toxic, is manipulate people. They try to control the situation. They're very controlling, and anything they can do to make the situation in their favor or for them to not be looked at badly, they'll do it. And even if it's their fault, they will constantly make you feel like you're crazy. They will forget what they say all the time, and after they forget what they say and you tell them what they've said, all of a sudden it's like, no, I didn't say that. You know, so they manipulate you to make you feel crazy. They manipulate the situation to make themselves always come out on top, and they're always controlling the situation. So anytime you have one or even two controlling people together, it's going to be hella toxic. Do not do it to yourself. You know, you should want things to just flow. You shouldn't want to have to control every little thing. You shouldn't want to feel like you have to manipulate someone to want to be with you or to like you or to see your value. And once you realize your own value, and you really start to love yourself, you'll realize, like, hey, I shouldn't have to manipulate you for you to want to be with me, or you should see my worth, you should see my value, because I do. And once you start treating yourself like you see your value, you won't allow yourself to be manipulated anymore. So yeah, being manipulated, you always feel crazy because they don't remember anything they say. That's manipulation. Don't let anybody make you feel like you're crazy, especially when you know you're not, and especially when you know that you're not crazy for feeling a certain type of way. They need to respect your feelings too. And one thing that I have suffered, women, and at one point in time, for some reason, I thought it was okay, was to be called out of my name, to be called out of my God-given name. Anytime someone is willing to call you out of your name, put you down, that is like very toxic, and you need to get out of that. Like, nowadays it is very hard to spot abuse because people aren't physically abusing you. Yeah, you don't want to let anybody call you out your name, because for one, they're putting you in a situation where it's like, okay, you just did something that I really don't like, that's like a deal breaker, and if I let you slide just one time, you're gonna do it again. So it's like I have to cut you off now, you know, because you can't call me out of my name. Like, you can't do that. So for them to put you in a situation, it's like, okay, you know what, I'm not here anymore, I'm not here for this anymore. Like, that is probably one of the most toxic things that somebody can do. Really, the most respectful thing you can do is call somebody, you know, their name or their nickname, but nothing derogatory. This is my daughter, Lariah. Are you gonna say hey?
Hi.
Are you really that nervous that you?
Hi.
Listen up.
Hi.
Alright, so I just wanted to bring Lariah on today because she is the reason I had to, like, really give up the toxic relationships. Like, wanting to set a good example for her, seeing that she listens to everything I say. She even eavesdrops on my conversations on the telephone. But I just really want to set a good example for her. So anyone with children out there that's in a toxic relationship, like, I know that it's hard to want to do things for yourself, but if you have someone, you have a child, just do it for them, because they are really watching, and it really affects how they grow up, how they think, how they love, how they learn, everything. So you just don't want them to see that. What? So yeah, those are the identifiers that I have been able to pick out of just about all of my toxic relationships. And I know this probably sounds like crazy, because you're like, all your toxic relationships, you're only 29. But I mean, like I said before, toxic relationships don't always have to be romantic. They can be friends, they can be your family. I have played the toxic role a lot. I have played a huge role in it, and I have also accepted some behaviors that are not up to par. So, you know, that's another thing to remember, is that it's never one person's fault. A toxic relationship takes two people. So don't keep checking the other person. Always check yourself too. You know, sweep your own front porch first. And just be willing to work on yourself. You know, if you realize that that you do some of these things that I've named, or you might be in a relationship where the other person is doing something that I named, or you see that it's the same cycle in your life, you're attracting the same kind of person, do the inner work. Find out why you keep attracting this. Find out why you keep allowing this, and figure it out. And then figure out not only why you keep attracting it and why you keep allowing it, what you can do to stop it. And once you figure out why you keep allowing it and why you keep attracting it, do the inner work to fix it so you don't attract it or allow it anymore, okay? So again, my name is Lenise, and I'm here with SLIP, which stands for Speaking Life into People, and I hope I have helped someone today.
I found